All right, so before we dive into too much of all the different ways that we can start to organize our photos, let's just look at how we get photos into Lightroom Mobile, some of the different ways we can get photos in here, and then in the next videos we'll take the next step of how to start organizing this stuff. So first off, we've got our camera. All right, if I open up Lightroom Mobile and I tap on the camera. Okay, and I've got it pointing at my desk right now. It's just laying down on the desk. So I'm just going to take a photo here, and it's probably going to turn on the flash and say, there we go. Just took a photo. If I hit the X, you'll see that it jumps from 1718 to 1719. That photo went into the catch-all place, which is Lightroom Photos. Okay, that Lightroom Photos folder that you see here right at the top, that's kind of the catch-all. That's where everything goes. The moment it gets in there, it's being synced up to that cloud, that infamous cloud that exists somewhere up in the sky. It is being synced up there. You've got your Adobe account all logged in. You're all good. Everything's being just backed up and pushed right up there. So that's kind of the default place. If I just hit the camera and I start taking photos, they all go into the Lightroom Photos folder. Now, from there, I can decide, well, you know what? I want to be a little bit more organized, and I can create what's called a collection. And these collections are very similar to the collections that we have on Lightroom Desktop. So if I tap on the little plus icon here, okay, and we're going to use my Iceland trip as an example here. So I'm just going to type in Iceland, because when I was in Iceland, I used my phone a lot, and I also used my my Sony A7R II a lot. So I want to combine both of these worlds. I've got good photos from both, and I want to make sure that I have a place to get to them. So we're just going to create a collection called Iceland. Then you'll see here's the collection. It's got no photos in it. If I tap on it, I can hit the camera, and I can now start taking photos, and these photos start getting dumped right into this Iceland collection. Interesting part about that is they're still being backed up to the cloud. They're still immediately going straight up into the cloud. But also, because I created that collection, I'm actually going to be able to go into Lightroom on the desktop. And you'll see here, it just created that Iceland collection for me. Again, it has no photos in it because I haven't put any photos in it, but it did automatically just sync that up to my Adobe account, which then is connected to Lightroom on the desktop and creates that Iceland collection. So that's another way we can start getting photos into Lightroom Mobile. And then the last way would be if I already have photos. If I've already got photos that are on my camera, then and that when I say on my camera, I mean my camera roll from my phone. So that would be, if you see the little camera roll section at the bottom there, you just tap on that. That'll let you go into your camera roll. And from here, now I can start to add photos. And the easiest way to do that would just be to swipe, swipe select, which means basically just put your finger down and drag it across multiple photos there. And then you'll see there's a little blue button at the bottom, and that'll let me add those photos in. So where do they go? Well, if I don't have a collection selected, they go right into that whole Lightroom Photos folder. All right. If I do have a collection selected, they go into that collection. So I could actually do this from within the collection as well. Again, just tap on those little add photos icon right down there at the bottom, and that'll bring them right into the collection. Or if I'm not, they go into that Lightroom Photos folder. Either way, they go from my camera roll into Lightroom Mobile's world. Once they get into Lightroom Mobile's world, they're now being backed up and pushed up into that cloud and everything like that. And they are very separate from the camera roll now, okay? If I go and I do something to the photo in Lightroom Mobile, it's independent of the camera roll. If I delete the photo from Lightroom Mobile, it still will exist on my camera roll. So they are independent of each other once they come into Lightroom Mobile's world. So hopefully that gives you a quick idea of how we can start getting photos into Lightroom Mobile. There's a few different ways, and depending on how you want to start to organize, and I think you're going to find collections are extremely useful. There's a couple of different ways to get them in there, but once they're in there, I think the big thing to understand is they are indeed being pushed up into that cloud. They're being backed up. They're up there. Now it really becomes a matter of what do we want to do with them, and how do we want to maybe share them across different devices.